All right, folks. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. We went to the Central. We went to the West. But very clearly, the Sports Department podcast has an East Coast bias. It's the National League Eastern Division time, and here we have a couple experts about NL East baseball. Josh Bettini, Stephen Clark, myself, Joe Paolantonio. Boys, how are we doing today?
Doing well. I'm excited to talk some baseball. I've been kind of left out of the loop because I don't really follow too much outside the NL and AL East at baseball, but this year might be different because the Mets might be good. But I'm excited. I'm very, very excited to be here, and very excited to talk some baseball.
Might be good. They're gonna be good.
We'll get into it. I don't want to give anything away yet. Away.
This is it. This is the money division. This is the division in baseball where all 5 teams are trying to win, are solid. The Miami Marlins made the playoffs last year.
They did.
The Phillies repeatedly spend big money. The Mets have made monster moves. The Nationals won a World Series 2 years ago, and the Braves were 1 game away from the World Series just last year. But as we do it here on the department, our division previews, this is surprising, but somehow just last year, the Mets finished in last. So as we do, we have to begin talking about the New York Metropolitans.
Oh, baby.
And I want Josh Bettini to tell me where his head's at with this team.
Well, if we go back right when Cohen signed the big contract, we go back when Cohen was the owner, and then we looked at all the big free agents and who he's going to sign. We saw Springer. We saw JT Realmuto. I mean, you go down the line of all the big free agents. And then we got McCann. He traded for Lindor. And right off the bat, we got some pretty good relievers to help that bullpen out. So to me, this was a pretty successful offseason for the New York Mets. Now they just need to work on re-signing Conforto and getting Lindor to a huge contract extension.
That's it. So Lindor comes over from Cleveland. The Mets, they really didn't give up much, considering Lindor is going to clog the shortstop hole, and they gave away shortstop prospects.
Yes.
Is this move enough to put the Mets from a last place team to a title contender?
I think it does. The only problem is injuries. Can the Mets finally stay healthy for one season? Because every Mets season looks the same. In the beginning, it looks great. And then once you make your way around June-ish, that's when the injuries start to take advantage. And then next thing you know, everybody's out. They can stay healthy. By that time in June, Syndergaard should be back in the rotation. That rotation's only just going to get better. So in my opinion, that move really does help with defense and offense for the Lindor one.
Yeah, I agree too. And it's not even like on field for Lindor. Off the field, he's just a great dude. He's a great team leader. I haven't seen much of him besides like the little World Series runs that the Indians had that much. I have because he hasn't. I don't follow the Cleveland Indians in general. But just seeing him in spring training and like the attitude he brings to the team and how everyone is like learning from him, and like he's like a second coach, a second manager to the team in a way, like the positive vibes and energy he brings. So I think it's just more than his great hitting and his great fielding. So I'm very excited. I think it does put him very, very much in the picture. And I don't know about this year being a title contender, but definitely I think it's shot to make the playoffs. And if they sign that extension, I think they have a really, really long-term shortstop for the Mets and for a long time.
Absolutely. I mean, he's the best shortstop in baseball. That's just my opinion. Both sides of the ball, and how consistently he's been doing it for a long time. I think he's better than Tatis. He's better than Story. He's better than Seager at all their current moments in their career. They have to lock him down. But looking at the Mets roster, there's so many individual guys who can come through and have big seasons.
Exactly.
And one of those guys, I think, is Dom Smith.
That's
was outstanding last year. And this is really, really exciting because there was a while it was either Dom Smith or Pete Alonso. It was only one of the two. And now it seems like Dom Smith has eclipsed Polar Bear Pete.
Yeah, fielding wise, 100%. They're throwing him in left field. I think this year is it left? They're throwing him.
Yeah, they're throwing him
in left. because we don't have the DH. We're not lucky enough to have the DH because it was voted against. It's just so stupid. I think the DH should be everywhere.
Exactly.
That's a conversation for another podcast. But no, this is going to be a breakout year for Dom. I think he's going to be like that second top guy underneath Francisco Lindor when it's all said and done, that has the best hitting throughout the whole team, best on base percentage, great ERA, all the nerd stats that we love calculating around the sports department podcast. But I just the way he's doing in spring too, he's been having a really, really fantastic spring. I know that doesn't really mean too much for the regular season, but I really think this is going to be a great breakout year, as if last year wasn't enough for Dom Smith.
Yeah, I mean, Dominic Smith is also a great presence in the locker room, the dugout. I mean, he's one of the biggest hype mans. Every time the Mets do something, the camera's always going to him, and you see him just pumping up the crowd, pumping up everyone in the dugout. He just seems like a generally good guy. He's a great athlete, and I'm excited to see what he could do this year, because he's only, what, if I'm not mistaken, 26 maybe-ish old, 25 years old.
Yeah.
He's very young. He's talented, and this could be your potential left fielder going forward.
You're okay rocking with an outfield of Smith, Conforto, and Nimmo, because quite honestly, defensively, that's scary.
It is. The one piece in the name that you just said, who I'm not too confident with, is Brendan Nimmo, center field. I think
he walks a lot.
You know what?
He's a good eye.
He's a good eye, and I love the energy when he runs to first base. But I think if somehow they were able to also get Springer, I know that's asking for a lot, but I think Springer would have been the center fielder that we could have locked up.
Wow. Still stuck on Springer, huh?
Yeah, it hurts.
I would have liked to have it.
It hurts.
Okay.
But, having Lindor is just as good. It's probably better.
One guy you could have had, but didn't, is Trevor Bauer. That did not happen. Do you think that missing out on Trevor Bauer is going to hurt the Mets this year?
Seeing what he's done in preseason, absolutely not. This past, he's given up 7 home runs, I think, in like a couple games. So I don't think so. Maybe it was a good thing. But let me tell you this. I cannot wait for hopefully everything to get better with this virus. Citi Field can allow some more fans in. And when we have that Dodger series, he's going to be the most hated man in the building, without a doubt. I mean, we're gonna see another Chase Utley situation where when he takes the mound, every single pitch is just gonna be raining with boos.
I hope Syndergaard's healthy for that, and he gets to stand in the box against Thor.
Well, yeah. I think this series, if I'm not mistaken, maybe August.
So he'll be healthy.
Yeah,
so he should be good to go, and I think that matchup is gonna happen. It's destined.
Yeah.
But if Syndergaard's not okay, is this rotation good enough?
No. I'm gonna say it right now, no, it's not. It's again, just like every Met rotation for the last couple of years, it's top heavy. It's very, very top heavy. Of course, you have DeGrom. Stroman's been doing okay, but then after that, Carrasco's hurt now too. He's gonna be out a couple of weeks, and just after that, it just falls off again. So you're gonna have great pitching to start, and then all of a sudden, it just gets to like Lucchesi and all those guys down there, and I'm like, well, I don't have faith in you guys.
It has the potential, because when you see Carrasco out, that just now gives David Peterson a chance to get in that 5th spot. And I do like Peterson. I think he does have a chance to at least be a 4th rotation guy in the pitching staff. He will, I think, move ahead of Lucchesi. I think just gives us another guy, young guy, to get more shot. We saw what he did last year. It was pretty impressive, because he wasn't even supposed to be called up.
That's embarrassing. That's a Mets shilling right there.
It is. That's
Mets shilling.
That was.
Moving on to the bullpen, I just hope Trevor May doesn't fall into the same trap of relievers that they acquire and then automatically play terribly. So I'm talking Betances.
All of them.
Yes, Familia.
All of them. Yeah. They're both Diaz. We have two Diaz guys now. Edwin and the other one. They both suck. What?
This could be a great bullpen, though.
It could.
It has potential. On paper, it looks good. But will it perform?
On paper looks fantastic. But I once again, just seeing the past and being a Met fan my whole life, it's just we know
it's going to happen.
Don't work out. Yeah, like I'm not used to the winning culture, and hopefully it changes this year. Knock on wood, it happens. Yep. But man, I'm just expecting the worst already. I'm expecting that bullpen to go down. I'm expecting Familia to give up 3 runs or 4 runs in the 7th inning. Diaz to come in and give up a grand slam, and like I'm just by now.
Listen, I'm not a total Diaz hater, but I love how every single now, like seasons, we got what is it now? His 3rd season with the Mets, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's gonna be his 3rd. That's crazy.
3rd. For the past 2 seasons, every single time before the season started on social media, they're hyping him up. Look what Diaz can do. Look at this throw. Look what he's doing. And then he just gets shelled in the 9th inning every single time.
Yes, he's a good pitcher. He's gotten unlucky.
I'd like to believe that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess the first year coming to a new team, whatever, it's hard. Second year, COVID. All right, there's third year now. There's no more excuses for him. It's either you're good or you suck now. That's it.
You have to handle the New York media. That's it.
Yeah.
Who's gonna? Okay, all right. Let's just get into it. What's the win total for this team gonna be? And is Jacob deGrom gonna win another Cy Young?
So me being a sorry to cut you off so fast, Clark, because I just had to get
this off. Oh no, go ahead.
I
was trying to think. That's my
okay. So me being the degenerate gambler with the sportsbook betting, I think the win total right now is 92 for the Mets.
That's
for the over under.
That would be the
most
I think in like 5 years, right?
So I think if this team stays at least a solid 90% healthy throughout the entire season, I'm talking like minimal injury, no long-term season-ending ones, you could probably place the Mets right around that solid spot, 91, 92 wins.
91, 92?
Yeah, I say that's respectfully a good number if they stay healthy. Now, if you start losing, like, say, Conforto for the half the season, you lose Pete Alonso for like 2 months, you lose one of your nether pitchers like Tajon Walker, he's gone, and then deGrom has to carry the entire team again. Then you're probably going to be looking more in the high 80s, like mid 80s again.
And it's bound to happen, Josh. It really is. Like, injuries happen. You can't not make them happen. They just happen like out of nowhere. Right. So I'm going to agree with you in that 80s range, from 80 to 89 range of just, I think, because I don't want to overhype them. I feel like the Mets, ever since all these moves, they are getting overhyped just a little bit. It's a very, very tough division. They play a lot of good opponents. Mm-hmm. And like you said, a couple injuries could really put this team down bad. So I'm going to agree in like that I'll give it the 80 to 85 range.
I think the Mets are the 4th best team in baseball right now. And I think they're the best team in the National League East. I think they're going to win 95 games this season.
Wow.
When you said 4th, I was hoping the next words out of your mouth were in the NL East.
No.
I was going
I thought
to
that's where that was going
drop. Yeah, my heart was dropping.
The Mets are a top 4 team in baseball right now. Take that to the bank.
Wow.
So we're gonna move on to, I think you could argue the Mets' biggest, the last couple of years. I think the games between the Mets and the Nationals have been must see. Nationals tied with them for last place in the division. Shockingly, it was a tough year in Washington. So, what's your? Are they going to be closer to the World Series team or this last year disaster team?
I wouldn't go so much of a disaster, nor would I go World Series. I say that they could be a potential wild card team, depending on what happens in this NL East. You know, if the Mets somehow could jump over the Braves and say maybe the Braves have a bit of a collapse with their injuries, I think the Nationals would be that 3rd team to jump over them.
Okay.
Yeah, I like what the Nationals did in the offseason. They filled a couple of their gaps. Their pitching is still very, very good. I like what they're doing, but it's like I said about the Mets too. It's just a very, very tough division. I put them very mid in this division. I would put them right in the middle. I think they're still going to be very good. They'll steal a couple of wins, though. They will beat the good teams. They're very capable of beating the good teams in this league. But I think they're kind of slowly like treading away from that World Series victory. And I don't see them coming back anytime soon, honestly.
Because, I mean, we also thought, oh, sorry, you go.
No, please.
Oh, I was just going to say, we know Scherzer is not going to be his 200K strikeout guy again this year.
Yeah.
Maybe. I have him in fantasy baseball. I need it.
Right. I don't want to take too much away from you from that. But the rotation is pretty good. I'm not going to lie. You know, with Lester in that 4th spot, they have Brad Hand now, that good pickup. So they have a good team. I mean, if you go look at their lineup right now and what its potential with Josh Bell, Schwartzberg in that middle spot, even Castro, they have a good hitting team. Now it just got to come down to, again, for every other team, injuries. If they can stay healthy, they could be a potential good team in that second or third place in the NL East.
I don't know about this lineup. I think that I like the pitching staff having veterans 1 through 5.
Right.
And I mean, even Joe Ross has been around for a while.
Yeah, he's going to be their 5th guy.
So, like, and I like the hand move. It's what concerns me is this was also a problem for the World Series team. I feel like it's Soto, Turner, and Bell, and beyond that, like the lineup, it's all such boomer bust guys. I don't think Schwarber's that great. I think Starlin Castro is okay. Like this isn't a lineup that's better than the Mets or the Braves or even the Phillies, in my opinion. And that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, I agree. Like they have like the names. That's all they have. They have names. They don't have like the talent or the homegrown talent anymore. I like what you said about like all the old guys too. It feels like it's like just like an old guy reunion that they got going on here. Like they have talent, very very talented guys, but like I just don't know if it's just gonna get the job done in this division.
So what's more likely, Juan Soto winning the MVP or Max Scherzer winning the Cy Young for this team?
Soto
MVP.
Yeah, I think the Cy Young is gonna be. You don't want to be too biased, but it's either me, it's a DeGrom, maybe a Bauer, probably again, depending on how Bauer does this year. Because I know we said before he's had a bad preseason, but that's just spring training.
Yeah, so, I don't know if I'm going to be on the AL East pod, but I'm saying it now. Both Cy Young awards are going to New York, baby. I think this is the year. I think they're both going to New York. They're the top 2 pitchers in the whole league. Garrett and you got Jacob. I think they're both going to New York, but we'll say that for the AL East spot. A little tickle at the balls right there. That's all.
This is such a tough division. Hold on. This is such a tough division to nail down. What's the win total you thinking
for the Nationals?
Somewhere in the 60s, maybe.
It's so hard to rank. Because I think the Nationals, the Phillies, the Marlins, even the Mets by some extent could both finish anywhere from 2nd to 5th.
Yeah, it's literally like it's. Yeah, I agree.
I'm gonna give them a 500 record.
500 watched the Nationals. I respect that.
Yeah, maybe a little higher than 500. Maybe if they're lucky, they'll get like in the 70s or. I don't know, like around a little above 500. I give them. Yeah,
I'll give them 85 wins. I think this is an 85 win team. I think one injury to the rotation would hamper them. One injury to the lineup would hamper them. I think a fully healthy Nationals team could win in the high 80s, but I put them, slightly over 500, 85 wins.
80, 81 for me.
It's tough. It's tough.
It's tough.
3rd, 4th place around there. It's hard.
I'm gonna say 3rd.
I'm also say 3rd. I agree.
3rd place teams now. The Phillies continuously. I want to talk about disappointment. The 3rd place Philadelphia Phillies. I mean, they keep making moves, and there's nothing to show for it. I don't know. It seems like the Mets and the Phillies always are playing each other. It seems like for some reason I feel like the Mets and the Phillies play each other like 80 times a year.
I wish. They don't have the best squad here. They don't. In a very tough division like this, they don't have the best squad. I mean, they have some great position players again, but as a team overall, it's just not good. You have one of the best players in the league, Bryce Harper. I know that, and you got decent pitching, not the best. You got a good top of the rotation is very good, and then it just falls
after
off.
2 it falls.
After 2 it falls. I agree. But it's not going to get the job done against these long stretches down in August where you got to win these close games and everyone's fighting for either a division title or a wild card spot. I just don't see this team getting those stack of wins together. What you need to really do down in July and August, right around All-Star break after that. I just don't see this team being that well put together and getting a lot of wins.
Yeah. The rotation, like we said before, it just falls off after 2. That's going to be their struggling because on paper, their lineup isn't bad. I mean, we have the old Metuchen leading off, but he could still make some good contact. He could still lead off. Metuchen's still someone who we grew up with watching. And then Hoskins, who's on my fantasy team, so let's hope he has a good year. And then Harper, JT, Didi, just the next coming guys. It's not bad.
It's
So right off,
proven too.
Yeah.
It's a lot of proven guys.
They're proven. We know what they're made of. We know what they could do. We know what they look like at their best and at their worst. And if they get to their best, now it just comes down, hey, can their pitching not give up 7 or 8 runs?
They can't. They can't. They tried the bullpen. They tried to patch it together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jose Alvarado, this year's Josh Hader, as what they were saying a couple of years ago. This guy fell off the map. I think Archie Bradley was a good pickup, but the bullpen's not good.
No.
The back end of the rotation is not good. Like I don't really have a lot of ways to spin that.
No.
Try to be nice, but I mean, you play in Citizens Bank Ballpark and you're going against the Mets, the Braves, and the Nationals lineups. This isn't going to go well for them. I just don't think they do enough. They remind me a lot of the Rams in football recently, with just a lot of I'm talking after the Super Bowl season, so like 2019 Rams.
Okay.
Is that they had a bunch of big name players. You look up and down the roster, you're like, but they don't have those supplemental pieces to really bring them to be a legit title contender.
No,
Again,
that's great analogy.
Sorry, Steve.
No, I'm just saying that's a great analogy. That's it.
Yeah, I was just saying on paper, this team looks like they could do some damage in that lineup, but then you go look at their rotation and what their relievers are made out of. You're more thinking, okay, they need some help. Definitely. They're going to have to hope these rotation guys play their best baseball this year, career lives.
I do feel like Bryce Harper needs to have like a legitimate season again, like that MVP season. It's been a long time since he won the MVP. Like, that's the big thing to watch with this Phillies team. Is Bryce Harper going to return to not a good player, but the $330 somewhat million man?
I kind of feel like ever since he signed a big contract that he's kind of like not been talked about too much anymore. Like he's just kind of there in Philly. Like he's like just one of the players, one of the guys. He's not like this top big name that like everyone's talking about,
like he was for a while, right?
Yeah. But I agree. He does. He needs to be the leader of this team and carry this team and have an MVP season. That's great. If they can do that, they have a shot at maybe a wild card spot. I still don't think they can win the division, but maybe a shot at the wild card. It's like you said, we've been saying this whole podcast. It's a tough division. Anything can happen from 2 to 5, basically, in this division, or even 1 to 5. Who knows what's going to happen with the Mets and the Braves and all that stuff up top, if they are up top. But if he carries his team, they have a shot. They do have a shot, but it'll be very hard.
Yeah, again, I think this could be a good year for him because, I think it's time has come where they're like, hey, Harper, we're going to need you back to that MVP form. And he wants to prove to Philly, he wants to prove to the whole NL East that, hey, we're still a team that is relevant. You have to be scared of us. So I think Harper will have a good year. God bless whoever has him in fantasy.
Anthony Walker.
Does he?
Anthony.
What overall pick did he go, Harper?
I think he was a second or third rounder. I think
Had to be a second.
Second or third rounder. Wow, didn't even go in the first round.
I don't know. I got Aaron Judge in the 4th round, so it's whatever.
What?
Yeah, that happened. You guys let that happen.
You're just a fantasy finesser over here.
I use analytics.
You won baseball last year, right?
Yeah, I did.
And you came very close to football this year.
Yeah, I use analytics. That's all.
It works. The nerd stats work.
It's a worry. You can get on me for it, but I mean, when
it's a Billy Bean type of system.
That's fair.
Money involved, you have to trust the math and your brain and not your heart to make these decisions.
You're right. No, there's no cheating, basically. So that's all you, man.
My brain says that the Phillies are a 4th place team.
My brain also agrees with your statement that they're a 4th place team. Yes.
And we are all in agreement on who the 5th place team is about to be.
And it's the team that came in second and won a playoff series last year.
I can't take that away from them.
We'll move on. We're going to go down to Miami, which it's still a team. Like, I mean, they were a playoff team last year. I mean, the only real problem is that we just get it out of the way. Don Mattingly allowed them to play when they were having a COVID outbreak. I think people have forgotten about that. It's just very important to me that I say that.
I mean, I remember waking up one morning and they were like, basically, this whole Miami team had was with COVID, and I was like, they're not gonna have a season. They're gonna have to almost forfeit a season. What's gonna happen? And then here they are, somehow, like you just said, they all played
during an outbreak. Yep.
played during the outbreak, and then they made the postseason.
Yeah.
Kind of got a little lucky with that.
Yeah, definitely. But that's last year. I want to talk about this year a little bit. I feel like this team is the mere opposite of the Phillies. They don't have the big names that the Phillies have. They have a bunch of just guys on this team, but I feel like these guys could produce a little bit more than the Phillies. I feel like they have more talent at some of these positions than the Phillies. They're a young up and coming team. A couple big moves to this team, and they're up there in that top 3 situation, I think, too. But not right now, not this season, not 2021. But there's something to look forward to, I'd say, if you're a Marlins fan. And I don't know if you are a Marlins fan watching us, good for you. But hey, they have some talent. I'll just say that.
I mean, there's not many Marlins fans left. For a
No.
Marlins fan, though, the only thing on this team that really, really would excite like your casual baseball fan is number 1 pitching prospect. I believe number 1 pitching prospect in baseball, Sixto Sanchez, is likely to be coming up. He's looking to be a dog. That's what he was described as, and boy, do they need it. I'm looking at this team's pitching rotation and their bullpen. It gets bad really quickly.
Yeah.
The thing is,
there's no other way to get
they're all young and like unexperienced. I feel too. It's just like a bunch of young guys. Like I honestly, I haven't even heard of many of them to begin with. Like the bottom half, I'm like, who the hell are these guys?
There's no track record.
No.
Anywhere on this team.
Yeah, looking at their rotation, it's just I got to do some research on you.
Sandy Alcantara is an all-star, but
Yes.
That's just because they just handed it out. They needed a Marlins representative, and I mean when you just Trevor Rogers wears number 95. Like, all right, like this guy.
That if that's not like a AAA player, then I don't know what is.
Their number 1 setup man, Yimi Garcia, wears number 93. Like if that tells you everything you need to know. Like
the only 90s numbers that should matter is like 99. Otherwise, if you're wearing like from like 40 or 40 something to like I actually like 50 something to like mid 90s, like you're not.
Yeah.
You got it.
It's Mickey Mouse.
It's a Mickey Mouse numbers.
I'm about to go pro just to wear an odd number, just to say screw you guys.
69.
And he's like the lineup again. Like the lineup does have talent. Like
talent.
They're gonna put the ball in play. They're exciting. I like Starling Marte and Jesus Aguilar. I like that. I like the veteran presences there. Those guys are talented.
Yeah,
but,
Starling Marte went very late in our draft. Nobody wanted him.
Yeah, and that's great because he's a compiler. Like I don't know, disrespect, but he gets hits. Like he puts everything in every column. I feel like he's just an all-around ball player. Brian Anderson's also a very good talent.
Yes.
He's probably the best player on this team, just looking at it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Are we in agreement that they're a 5th place team?
100%.
Yeah, I won't even consider a 4th, to be honest.
What win total?
They'll be lucky if they hit 70.
Look at him 75. I'm nice.
I'm not.
They'll be lucky if they. I'll give them 70 then. I'll just give them 70. Josh,
67.
I thought Josh was going to be like 12.
Still far and away, they're going to be the best last place team.
Yeah.
In baseball. And far and away. I mean, you're comparing them to Pirates, Rockies, Rangers, Tigers, and Orioles. They're the best. They're probably far and away better than those teams. They're a tier above them.
The Orioles got Matt Harvey on their roster now. That's a little bit right there.
Dark Knight's going to Baltimore.
That probably is going to cost them a few wins.
Oh my, he's just. I feel like he left
fell
on a bad
off
note.
Fast.
He left on a bad note, and I didn't like him. But I'm happy he's getting a second chance. But like that shows you how desperate the Orioles are. It's so sad. It's sad, but good for him, I guess.
I don't know. A team. So we're going to move on to the first place team last year. A powerhouse, but you could argue this team is not as good as the Mets. When you weigh potential and everything, it's going to be close. let's talk about the Braves for a second. I mean, the
Yes.
names speak for themselves with Acuna and
Yeah,
Freddie
Acuna
Freeman,
leads
Marcell
off.
Ozuna. Yeah,
Look at their first four, and I don't even want to mention the fifth guy in that lineup.
that hurts. It hurts. So much,
Because it hurts every Mets fan deeply.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's number 5 and he's now producing, I mean, good for him, I guess. Wish he could have done that for us a little sooner.
Yeah.
That
happens. Hold up, pause. That happens with every Met that league.
Happens too often.
Too often. Especially recently. Justin Turner's phenomenal.
Daniel
Murphy. Murphy, another one. Let's see what Steven Matz does this year. Watch Steven Matz win the Cy Young Award up in Toronto or something.
They said he looks like he's lights out now, right up there.
Good God. The only one like Harvey was the only one who really didn't pan out. It's kind of funny. Wheeler's doing all right in Philly too. It's just us. All right. Anyways.
Yeah, it's just the New York media. They can't handle it. They go elsewhere. They're like, I'm gonna shine. They don't care.
So, like, I get it. I get the hype around the Braves. Yes, I think that they're a great team. I think they're a lock to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. Like, we're talking about the Mets rotation having question marks. We're looking at I mean, if Mike Soroka doesn't pitch much this year, which I think he's going to come back. I don't have the injury information on it, but Fultonevich is gone. Like he choked his way out of this team, and he was a big piece. So Max Fried, I think, is a stud. They picked up Charlie Morton, but outside of that, Ian Anderson was a rookie last year. I don't know. Drew Smiley is not that good. Like, this rotation is probably even more of a question mark than the Mets is.
It's mid. It's very mid. Like you said, it's not that it's good. It's not that it's bad. It's just a lot of question marks. Like I said, it starts good again. Like a lot of these rotations, they start really well and then they just kind of fall off and have some question marks again. But I think it's the hitting that would have to be carrying this team more than anything, which is a lot harder to do in the league. Yeah, you got a lot of bats on this team, a lot of people who produce a lot of hits. So they have to rely on their hitting more than anything for the Braves to be good.
No, it's very similar with the Mets rotation. Like you said, it has the potential, excuse me, to be very good. But like you said, Ian Anderson, I think you said was a rookie last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he had a pretty okay-ish rookie year, and if he could prove that he gets better and we see an improvement in him this year, you have a solid 3 guys going in your rotation. And then it just comes off in the bottom half where it has some question marks whether or not they can produce. Same thing with the Mets. You have DeGrom. Cookie's hurt right now, so that means we have to move someone else up. And it's going to come down to Peterson being your 5th guy and Lucchesi maybe being 4th. And that's where it starts to get the question marks.
I mean, absolutely. The thing about the Braves is it's impossible for them. Like, it's impossible for them to be bad this year when they have three guys. I believe, I could be wrong. I look at the MVP voting, but like Acuna, Freeman, and Ozuna, I feel like it was like they were like 3 of the top 6 in the MVP voting. Like, they probably had to be last year. That's insane.
I'm pretty sure Freddie Freeman is a big favorite in the sports books now for MVP.
Wow. I mean,
that scares me.
Who do you think gets more MVP votes, Freddie Freeman or Ronald Acuna Jr.?
That's tough.
My heart's saying, or my brain is telling me Acuna, but I wouldn't fully be surprised if Freeman can jump him. Because he had a phenomenal year last year.
Yeah, I think Acuna, just because of the age, I think he'll be on the field more than Freeman, and just a better chance to win it. I don't know, because Freeman's getting a little old
Joe,
there. He's been around for a little while now.
Would you be shocked, let's just say the season ends, and Freeman gets more votes? But Freeman has a fantastic year, like his last year.
I wouldn't be shocked, but I would take Acuna to get more MVP votes.
So would I.
Just because of all that he does, and again, he's really 23.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
Oh, that's insane.
He feels like he's been doing it for a long time.
It
So the Braves. Do you think this Braves team is built to win a World Series?
100%. I think you just need a little bit more pitching help. Otherwise, they're set. Their field is set right there. I think. It pains me to say it, but I do think this year we're probably going to the division winners in a little bit. But I think this is a almost clear cut to be division winner. They have everything. They have everything in place as long as we've been talking about staying healthy and producing to your best ability. this team is ready to make a World Series run, a top contender in the entire league.
Josh.
At the deadline, they're definitely going to be buyers for pitching, without a doubt. So just wait for that to happen. And if the Braves, like you just said, Steve, if they could stay healthy and that, let's just say Ian Anderson has a good year and then their fourth and fifth guys are having decent, not terrible, and they can buy that one more starting pitcher, absolutely.
I don't know. This team has traded away a lot of prospects recently. I don't know if they're going to be able to just make that big trade.
It's win now for
I will
sure.
tell you, I'll get you my win total in a second, but I'm going to tell you exactly. You can write it down what's going to happen.
Okay.
The Braves are going to lose the wild card game to the Padres. I decided it. It just came to me. I can see it. They're going to go on the road.
Okay.
Do you have your bracket already set?
I think I do. I think I got to figure out. I think it's going to be Darvish against Max Fried in the wild card game, and that's when the Braves season ends. They're just not built for 162 like I think that the Mets are.
Clark, tape that to your wall somewhere throughout the season and just look at it.
Put it right there in the background somewhere, like an open gap or something. Yeah.
Yes.
I think the Braves are the fifth best team in baseball, and I give a lot of love to that, but they're not going to win the division.
Wow, are we getting to our division winners then right now?
Do it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'll go. Like I said, it hurts me to say this, but I just, being a Met fan, I think more negatively than positively, and it sucks to do that because I'm just used to all the heartbreak and disappointment. So I think Mets make the playoffs, which is great, which they did the year after they made the World Series. They still got into the playoffs after that, but I'm taking the Braves to win the division here. I am. I just that's more my head than my heart. If I was going my heart, I'd say Mets get 100 wins and they make the World Series and all that. But I'm taking the Braves to get over 90 wins, somewhat maybe like 95 wins, and I think Braves are winning the division.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Clark. Just being a Mets fan, seeing the heartbreaks every year, seeing the injuries pile up by right around my birthday in June at that point. And then it's just, all right, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel for who we have to call up. And here we come around, what's it? Oh my God, around the home run derby, the All-Star break. Then it's like, all right, well, the Mets are now 15 games out of the first place. What's going to happen? So I just know how the season's going to go. I don't think it's going to be as bad this year, but I still give them a few wins shy, the Mets, of the Braves. Braves take this division with 96 wins. Like I said, I think the Mets finished with like 91, 92.
The Braves are going to win about 92. Yeah. Mets win the division. Braves make the wild card game. Nats, Phillies, Marlins.
Yeah. I think our bottom three are all the same. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Nats, Phillies, Marlins.
Nats, Phillies, Marlins.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the NL East. Real quick. So we think probably DeGrom is going to be, like, if you were to give division by division Cy Young awards, I think
DeGrom's the best pitcher in that division for sure. Yeah.
MVP is going to be interesting.
He's the best pitcher in baseball.
If you want to do an MVP for this division, between, like, you got Lindor, you got Soto, Acuna, Harper, Freeman.
Yeah.
Who's the MVP of this?
I'll go first really quickly just so I can get my point out of the way. Someone we talked about earlier. I'm going Dominic Smith to win MVP of this division. I really think he has a breakout year. I'm feeling it.
That's better than Acuna.
That's a little more my heart. I just wanted to say something a little bit risky here. I really like. I like Dom Smith a lot. I just think he does so much. Like Josh said earlier too, he does so much for the team. The way he does the Black Lives Matter stuff, all the movements, and just everything. I think is all coming together finally for him. He's finally found his role within the team. I really think he has a breakout year. Maybe I don't know about MVP, but I think the division needs to do very, very well.
Wow. As much as I would like to pick someone like Lindor, just, being a biased Mets fan, say absolutely Lindor. I'm going to lean just a little bit off right now on that. And I think I'm just going to go with the safe bet and pick Acuna.
Yeah, I think you're going to say
23-year-old stud, does it all, fielding, hitting. This guy's just lightning fast. This guy's amazing. I really wish we had him for our outfield, but, can't have everything. So Acuna, MVP. The second guy, honestly, wouldn't even be probably Mets. It would probably be someone like a Freeman to follow up.
I'll go with Soto. I think that the guy is just too good at the plate. He can easily hit 45, 50 home runs in a full season. Clark, hit us with that outro.
Guys. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Sports Department Podcast. Us three appreciate it. Justin, Steve, and Jesse also appreciate it, who aren't here with us. They're not dead, but they're just not here with us. Make sure you guys follow us on our social medias on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Sports Depth Pod. That's Sports DEPT Pod. Subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify, wherever your podcast from. I know we have an AL East podcast coming up. There's some wrestling coming up. It's WrestleMania season, so a lot of wrestling's coming up. Basketball trade deadline just happened. I don't know if they did a podcast yesterday or not, but that's coming soon. Something with basketball. Another mock draft maybe, I think, might be coming too. So a lot of stuff, free agency, a bunch of stuff happening in sports right now. So stay tuned to all that fun stuff, and we'll see you in the next episode.